The liberal media has a field day whenever business mogul and presidential candidate Donald Trump opens his mouth. And this past week was no different. Trump continues to receive criticism for comments in which he called for a complete and total shutdown on Muslims entering the United States until our nation's leaders figure out what the heck is going on. Trump has previously called for stricter surveillance of Muslim mosques associated with radical Islamic terrorism. And we all remember the controversy a few weeks ago when a reporter asked Trump whether or not he'd support a database for Muslims here in the United States. Well, we had a Trump campaign spokesperson clear that up for us last time. Now, I'd like to welcome her back to the program again. National campaign spokesperson for Donald Trump, Katrina Pearson. Katrina, great to have you back.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
You too. Let's start with Mr. Trump's comments. Critics claim that banning Muslims from entering the country, like Mr. Trump is calling for, is religious discrimination. Is this religious discrimination?
Well, it's absolutely not religious discrimination, because one of the things that we keep hearing is that it's not constitutional, it's un-American, et cetera, freedom of religion. But I have to tell you, I'm not sure that anyone in this country agrees that you have the freedom to kill Americans just because it's based in your religion. But more importantly, this was a ban simply on immigration coming in as a Muslim. We all know that Muslims are not hostile, all of them. However, we also know that they are killing Americans in the name of Islam, and we have to take that seriously. And what I don't understand is since 9/11, we have the Iraq War, we have the fight in Afghanistan. That's 10,000 American lives, and we still have a porous border. We haven't reformed the visa system. And just when we had the San Bernardino attacks, he was radicalized for a couple of years, and she came in on a visa and passed with flying colors. Mr. Trump is just saying things are way out of control. ISIS is out of hand. We have to protect the homeland. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not qualified to be president of the United States.
And I agree with him in the sense that we certainly need to do something to prevent these terrorists from coming into our country without even our knowledge. I do want to focus for a second on one important aspect. A lot of critics, like I said, have been focusing on this one particular point about the constitutionality of denying someone entry to our country based on their religion. Now, like you said, this is a matter of immigration. These are immigrants. These are not citizens of our nation yet. So they're not protected by the same constitutional constraints that we are in the United States. Is it or is it not constitutional to deny someone entry to our country based on their religion?
Every sovereign nation has the right to refuse anyone for any reason if they are a threat to their national security, period. Constitutional rights do not apply to foreign nationals, and I don't know why we keep hearing very educated people say this, because there's also legal precedent. Back with Kleindenstein versus Mandel in 1972, there was a foreign national that was hostile to the nation. He was refused, and the Supreme Court said, no, sir, the First Amendment does not apply to you. You are not a citizen. So I'm not quite sure why there is this real big push to sort of cover the hostility that comes within the faith of Islam. We have two sides of this coin. We have the Islam is a religion of peace, but at the same time, all of a sudden, the same people can just flip into a jihadist. We have to figure this out one way or another, because one thing we can no longer continue to do is allow Americans to be attacked on their own soil and then be criminalized afterwards.
Right, and it's certainly in our best interest to be safe, better to be safe than sorry. So aside from the media frenzy, because I think a lot of this is driven by the media and their dislike of Trump, the fact that they feel threatened by Trump, but aside from the media frenzy, I think a lot of Americans like me understand that the threat from radical Islamic terrorists is associated with their religion, like you said, regardless of whether Islamic scholars say that they're interpreting it correct. That's a whole different issue. But the radical jihadists, their attacks are based, their ideology is based in their religion.